I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
That's right, Maxine. Very good.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Eric. I have a stutter and sometimes I say stupid shit. And if you're not new here, what up whores? Today is the day. MaXXXine is finally out. I've just watched it thrice. Oh boy, was there hype for this one after X and my favorite horror movie of the last 5 years, Pearl. Pearl, the genius that you are. The movie, not the unhinged psychopath that's trying to get into the manosphere.
I'm not the biggest fan of female politicians. I think generally we're too emotional. Do I want someone with the nuke bomb that could get their period?
That woman deserves an entire video just for her. Now, for those of you who don't know, how could you not? MaXXXine is the third installment in Ty West's X trilogy. Each of these movies is highly stylized by Ty West to mimic a certain bygone era of cinema. X took inspiration from 70s slashers like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, whereas Pearl took more inspiration from Technicolors like The Wizard of Oz and what was the other one? Mary Poppins. And this one is 80s Hollywood, 80s slashers, I guess. Everything feels 80s. It felt like I was watching a Karate Kid movie. It was doing what Stranger Things thought it was doing. I get that he wants to set the film in the 80s and he really wants to transport us back to that time, and that's fine. But when he shoves a sequence that feels like it lasted for 5 minutes, I'm sure it wasn't more than 30 seconds, but it felt so long and just unnecessary. Like, it just went on and on and on. And I felt that was a bit much. Like, we get it. We're in the 80s. Give us some story. And even though Mia Goth is incredible as MaXXXine, I also want to give a shout out to Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Debicki because they both gave great performances, and Elizabeth somehow always makes me question my sexuality. Don't know what that's about. But, like, if you watch the movie, I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't know. She just makes me go, maybe. Do I? Would I? Would I? At least ponder. Would I? Would I? Yeah, I think I would. But that's about it. Like, that's about it. The story is where MaXXXine really felt like a sucker punch of what? This is it? Okay. Maybe it's my fault. I went into the movie with certain expectations. I envisioned the entire film in my head and I knew what the plot was going to be. And when I saw this one, I realized it was not as good as the one I imagined. And then that became a disappointment because I wasn't paid to imagine a good plot. I wanted to do it. Ty West got paid, I think, right? Did he fund himself or I don't know, but it was his job. You know, he had a financial interest in that. So how did I come up with a better plot in a couple of hours than you did in a few months? And if you disagree with the plot that I'll explain further down the video, then you know it's just one of those things. Can't agree with everyone, and that's fine. That's okay. But before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and you click that bell notification down below so you never miss a future upload from me because we talk about a lot of stuff. Last week, we got political and we dragged J.D. Vance like the pig that he is. Next week, I don't know, maybe we can talk about Pearl, the parasite on TikTok, or we could even cover Love Island UK, the first season, because it's coming. And you know it's going to be fucking messy. Let me know in the comments down below. Yeah. Without further ado, there's no sponsor. There's ads. Don't skip them.
Help me, I'm poor.
The movie's set in 1985, but we actually start with some archival footage from 30 years before of Pearl dancing while her father, the preacher, films, and she's going to be the star of the church. And then they repeat this slogan that her father has, which I love, by the way, which is, I will not accept a life I do not deserve. And that becomes her mantra. And coming off of X, as we all remember, she was there to shoot a porno. She was a porn actress. They rent this cabin from an old couple, Pearl and Howard, who turn out to be murderous psychopaths. Pearl, again, played by Mia Goth with prosthetics, just so good. And at the end of X, MaXXXine drives over Pearl's head squashing it like a pumpkin, and heads to Hollywood. And that was in the 70s. And now she's in Hollywood, which is being plagued by a series of killings. Actual killings that happened. The Night Stalker, a prolific killer from the 80s. His MO, I think, was going into victims' houses during the night and then, yeah.
He could find no reason to not accept the jury's recommendation. That is, guilty on all counts and the death penalty in the gas chamber at San Quentin on all counts.
And this is the first confusing thing that I don't understand why it was here. The mention of the Night Stalker, and he becomes a sort of a central plot line that helps the story go further to make it make sense, but it doesn't. It just feels like a throwaway thing to make it more 80s. At least Ryan Murphy had the decency to give him an actual actor and lines in 1984 and have him be a killer like he was in real life.
In the midnight hour, she cries more. With a rebel, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that should have happened. I don't know. And this is also during the Satanic Panic, I guess. I don't know a lot about the Satanist movement in the US. What I do know about Satanism, like the actual practice of Satanism, it's actually a very chill religion. Y'all should really read up on it. It's very like good vibes. It's a lot more peaceful than Christianity. So Maxine Minx is now in Hollywood trying to make it as a serious actress, even though her past is in adult films. And I'm very surprised that they're even giving her a chance. I thought that up until still today, if you started off as an adult film actor, it was like impossible to break into actual movies. There was an actress, I think her name was Skylar something. She was in this movie. I'll put it here because I can't remember its name. But I remember that she was doing a few movies that weren't porn at the time, and people were like, oh, Sasha something. But then she kind of fell off the face of the earth as well, so that career didn't last that long. I don't know, is it possible? Are we finally going to stop the stigma and like allow them to actually have careers? Or is it still going to be this fucking dark cloud over their careers for no reason? Anyway, Maxine Minx is making it. She's got a killer agent, literally. And the opening scene is her auditioning for this role in The Puritan 2. The Puritan is hailed as this like incredible horror movie, and now they're doing a sequel. And the sequel is getting more budget, a new director, a new look, a new vibe, and it's promising big numbers in the box office. So if Maxine gets this role, she pretty much has a career at least in horrors. Maxine needs to be in it to win it. And she is. She gives an incredible performance. Think of Emma Stone in La La Land. She does that audition and like tears instant. But it's not just about the tears. It's also about the emotion. It's about the voice, the control, she changes her accent, even though she has that really heavy Southern accent, which is incredible considering she is English and posh. I love Maxine. Maxine is such a good character because it's that final girl that is allowed to have sex. We all know the cliche that the final girl always has to be this virginal figure that never has sex or even considers masturbation because God forbid you use your nether regions for anything other than reproducing. But Maxine literally starts off as a porn actress. If we were going by conventional standards of horror movies, the final girl should have been Jenna Ortega's character up until the point where she actually was in a porno. And then all of them should have died because technically they all sinned. Anyway, at the audition is the new director of The Puritan, Elizabeth Debicki. I don't know what it is about her. Yeah, it's just her, the way she talks, the way she walks, the way she just exists is so confusing to me. Obsessed with this character. She's a bad bitch. She's there to make a good movie. And Maxine's friends consist of Leon, a beautiful video store clerk, whatever. The sweetest character in the movie for sure. I don't want to assume he's gay. I can't remember if there was like a hint or not to him being gay, but like he looks gay in the nicest possible way. I say this, or he acts gay at least. But maybe it's this comment that he made that he's not trying to Maxine. And honestly, who isn't trying to Maxine? Right? Exactly. The gays. And Maxine has two jobs, as an adult entertainer and as a dancer at a peep show. And at both jobs, interestingly enough, she's invited to a big party at the Hills. One by this gal, I don't know her name, I'm so sorry. She is colleague number one, let's call her. And then we have, she deserves her own name because this is Halsey. Halsey plays colleague number 2.
I don't know, it's all way too close for comfort if you ask me. Then again, I guess nobody would have ever heard of Elizabeth Short if it wasn't for the Black Dahlia, you know?
Listen, I'm not an expert in accents, right? Especially US ones. But what is this?
The house is absolutely fabulous. It's right under the Hollywood sign.
Where's she supposed to be from? I think I get what she's trying to go for, but it's like not sounding like it at all, right? I don't know. I wanted to like it. I didn't. Yeah. But anyway, she's only in this for 2 scenes, so RIP, I guess. Oh yeah, did I say spoilers? This is the spoiler section, so continue not watching if you don't want to get spoiled. That didn't make any sense. So after she's invited to these parties in the hills comes one of my favorite scenes. MaXXXine is getting stalked by a stranger at night, and she goes into an alleyway and realizes that the gate at the end is locked. She is stuck. And this creepy man has been following her for a few minutes, shows up, and he pulls out a knife. And when he's close to her and about to do something, I guess, she turns around, pulls a gun on him, tells him to strip twice. Can't even believe that he made her repeat herself, but, you know, she did. She tells him to get on his knees, forces him to suck on the gun, and then it tells him to lay on the floor. And this scene is so... Trigger warning for men. She steps on his and they explode on the floor. Just thinking about it is making me wince, you know? Like, I know it's a movie. I know it's not happening to me. But oh my God. So that was one. That was a good one, though. That was a good one because he deserved it. You know, he deserved it. He started crying like a bitch so fast. And this is why, again, MaXXXine is the best final girl because she's not afraid to pull a gun on a man and make him cry like a bitch before stomping on his balls. No one's doing it like MaXXXine. No one. Remember colleague number 1 and colleague number 2? So they're being held against their will. They're a prisoner. They are, I think they're gonna die. And then the next day they show up pretty dead. Yeah, just RIP, with satanic markings on their bodies. And we meet the most useless, pointless detective/characters that I've seen in the past 10 years. I would honestly like a word with Ty West because no, these two, honestly, shoot them both, take them out. Don't matter, don't care, go away. Do something else. Okay. Detective Williams is played by the lovely Michelle Monaghan over here. And Detective Torres is played by, can't remember his name, but he was in Will and Grace and a couple of other comedy movies in recent years. This guy. And, well, Williams is the most generic police officer ever. Insert random police movie here. There is nothing. There's no personality. She tries to act like the good cop in whatever situations they are, but it doesn't come across as good cop. Just comes across as, I just started. I don't really care. And Detective Torres, oh my God, can this man get laid? This man gives off the tiniest, most microscopic dick energy. The only tactics he uses is being bad cop, but he's not even a good bad cop. You know, he's not even convincing as a bad cop. He just comes across as an asshole. And that's what he is. He's just a for no reason. And then their characters literally do nothing until the very last minute, but that could have been done by literally any other plot device that didn't include having these two fully grown characters walking and talking in this movie. So the two girls were made to appear like the Night Stalker's victims, and they go and interrogate MaXXXine because MaXXXine knew both victims. MaXXXine doesn't have time for these cops. She doesn't trust in cops. Good for her.
Don't talk to police.
And Torres is left there with his dick in his hand like, what did I do?
We understand they're work colleagues.
Anyway, to advance the plot, she gets a note in her car to call someone, and this someone is Kevin Bacon, private investigator called John Labatt, and he is working on behalf of someone who knows of MaXXXine's past. In fact, the note that is left for her is a copy of her yearbook. So she meets up with him at this hotel, and he essentially says the past is not done with you. You haven't gone to prison for the murders of Pearl and Howard. And this is like the battle of the Southern accents. I'm obsessed with everything about this scene. MaXXXine reiterates her innocence. She's like, even if I did have something to do with it, you couldn't prove it. That was bad.
Stop being a
In order to escape her past or to be done with her past, she has to go to this soiree. He doesn't care if she goes or not. He's going to get paid anyway, but that was the message. Go to this soiree or your past will catch up to you. And she decides not to. She's like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. Elizabeth then gives MaXXXine a little pep talk. She takes her on a little tour of Hollywood sets, and it's really nice to see some of the sets, particularly the house in Psycho, which was also used in Bates Motel. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. So Elizabeth tells MaXXXine that she needs to make this industry her obsession, right? She needs to continue working so hard because now that she's gotten this break to be in a horror movie, she's gonna have to fight. She's gonna have to be ruthless. Can you be ruthless, MaXXXine? Sorry. Can you be ruthless, MaXXXine? This is so funny. This is an English accent and a super Southern accent talking to each other, when in reality, they're both posh British.
Tomorrow. 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 It's tomorrow. No, it's tomorrow. Butter. 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 Butter.
This is cinema. This is beautiful art. The pep talk is great, and MaXXXine would love to focus, except who's that following her? Oh yeah, it's John Labatt, the vermin. So he's following her and recording her. So she gets out of her car, puts the keys between her fingers, walks up to the car, and baby starts punching him relentlessly as an 80s classic, can't play it, copyright, I will try, plays in the radio. She's moving her arm almost like comically like a robot. You know what I mean? Like, this is so camp. So she goes to see Teddy Knight, her agent, played by Giancarlo Esposito. What an appropriate name for a Hollywood agent. I don't know why, but Teddy Knight. It just sounds like a scammer. It just sounds like a guy who will do anything to get you the job. And I mean anything. Eliminate the competition? No problem. We're on it. He tells her just to focus on her career and he will handle the rest. So she does. She goes home and starts learning the lines for the Puritan too, because yeah, in the meantime, she got the part. So as she's learning lines, the same masked figure that was watching her a few days ago on a peep show and was clenching his fists really hard breaks into the video store and brutally murders the only nice person in this entire cast. And why do we have to continue killing nice, pretty people for no reason? At least make him, I don't know, a homophobe. You know, at least then we can be like, okay, well, at least it's one less homophobe, if anything. But to make him really nice and really pretty and really supportive and really helpful and then just kill him off because she didn't go to a fucking soiree, that's a bit much. This is where you lose me. Damn it. Fucking racists! That, coupled with the death of the two colleagues, colleague number 1 and number 2, and now Leon, the police press harder on MaXXXine for some answers because they think that she's hiding something that could be traced back to her past or something that explains these 3 deaths of 3 people that she knows in 3 days. And they ask her questions because they want to save the next girl, and she turns to them really and she's like,
maybe she should save herself.
Get in, lay it on that. This little interrogation causes her to be late, so Elizabeth, gives her an ultimatum like, don't ever with my time because it's expensive. Anyway, meet Molly. Guys, Molly is it. Molly is when MaXXXine became an actually great movie. Molly's the actress from Puritan 1, and she's played by Lily Collins. Yes, Emily in Paris.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Je proclame soleil. Je
And for some god-awful reason, they told her to do a North Yorkshire accent. My boyfriend does one, and it's really, really good. I can't do one for shit. But in the past 2 years, I must have worked with like 10 different people from that area in the country. This accent, I'm sorry. If you're watching this from North Yorkshire, you please listen to him.
I was quite literally burnt to a crisp in the last film, and here I am resurrected, a working actor.
I don't get it. Like, if you really wanted the character to be from that specific town, why not get someone that is from that area. Or maybe it was Lily Collins who walked into that audition. She was like, you know what? I can do a North Yorkshire accent because I was in England once for a press tour of Emily in Paris, and I was met her in person. And now I speak it, and it's beautiful. Look, here it is.
I mean, how many girls from a council estate in North Yorkshire can say that?
I don't know. Maybe they just went to the England map and just clicked North England city. And then they called it North Yorkshire around set because, you know, it's Americans. And then we ended up with Lily Collins doing this. It's funny. She's in it for 2 scenes. Love that for her. Oscar, please. And then MaXXXine is chased by John, the private investigator, Kevin Bacon. I don't know. He's probably mad because he stayed way too long in the fryer. But eventually a security guard approaches him and is like, yo, you need to get the fuck out of here, okay? You're too toasted. Get out of the pan. And then Elizabeth arrives and she's like, yo, okay, listen, MaXXXine, we gotta have a word. We gotta have an understanding. But she says all of this in an English accent. So like, MaXXXine, you've got to understand this is our only chance. Whatever you've got going on in your life, whatever's interfering with my picture, squash it. You've got 2 days. Do it, MaXXXine. I will have your She's actually cool about it. She's like, look, I know you've got problems. Just go and fix them, right? Whatever it is, I don't care. Kill whoever you have to kill. I don't care. Just do it. And then come back and we can have a great movie and you can have a career. And I think that's very reasonable. And MaXXXine is like, I'm going to squash this. She has that look. So later that night, MaXXXine lures John out of a nightclub, and Teddy Knight brings his lapdog. They put Kevin Bacon in a little compressor. They put him inside a car that's going to be crushed by like a hydraulic compressor of cars. I don't know what these are called, but they make toasties out of cars. And now they're making one with bacon. This is the best scene, I think, in the movie for me. I'm going to include it because it's not gory. There's just a lot of blood that comes out of the car later, but I won't include that, obviously. I'll just include that. Look at that. Flat pancake. I don't know. It's like those videos that you see of them, like, crushing candles in that little round machine. Like that. And then you see all the blood, and it's like, oh, someone was in there. It's fine because it's Kevin Bacon, you know? And he's bad in this movie. Also, this scene slaps. It's so good. She gets home and looks at the address that was in her little invite for the soiree and realizes it's in the hills, and then remembers that both her colleagues, colleague number 1 and colleague number 2, and Molly, along the pep talk, told her they were going to parties in the hills, a big party for a big town producer, and now they're all dead. She's like, okay, if this has anything to do with me, maybe it's this address because it's the person in my past. And ding, 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 finally. Mind you, at this point, the police officers, they haven't done anything because, again, they are inconsequential to this story. MaXXXine goes to the hills and Williams and Torres are following her. I don't know what got into MaXXXine now all of a sudden to go face her demons without backup, but I guess she's feeling confident and stupid. She goes to the hills, and lo and behold, the big baddie is her father, the preacher. I hate that it's her father, but I love that it's her father because it got us this queen giving us this fruity performance. I don't know who had the idea to characterize this man like an old drag queen, but I love it. This is that gay that was rejected by the musical theater camp. He wasn't even good enough for summer camp, so he became a villain. But you can't escape that orange foundation. You know, once a showgirl, always a showgirl. He gives her the speech that, you know, Hollywood stole my child. Satanics are sowing fear in the communities, and they're using TV sets as their medium. They stole my girl. Now I'm going to show the world that actually there's an exorcism about to take place, and I'm going to take the demon out of my daughter, and I'm going to return her to the Lord of good and peace. You know, the one that kills people, murders them for no reason. Like Leon. Remember Leon? Yeah, that was you, fat.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. Like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
And in the middle of his speech, she trips on a suitcase, and the suitcase goes flying down the stairs. And y'all, it's Emily in Paris's body, this dismembered body just falling down the stairs. But you know, I gotta say, of all the heads in this film, this one is by far the most impressive. Look at that. So the Divalicious we got over here, her plan is to perform an exorcism. She's been making a movie in Hollywood, and the movie is kidnapping friends of his daughter to torture them and kill them under the guise of removing Satan from the earth, the sin. Anyway, she's tied to a tree, and this man is so fruity. I'm sorry. Look at this bottom. You know that at the orgy, she is the volunteer bottom that everybody knows is always there. No matter what, she's always weathering the times, ready to perform. We don't rest! Winners never rest! Resting is for losers! She gives us Golden Globe, BAFTA, Emmy, Oscar performance. This bitch is on fire! And finally the police do something and interrupt the party just to get shot at. In all of this, MaXXXine still has to free herself. Luckily, she had a pocket knife because, again, this bitch is prepared. She's not like all the other Finer girls. She was gonna kill her father the moment he tried anything. It was gonna be the best ending to the movie. The police had to fucking ruin that. But she gives chase, tries to find her father. What she finds is Detective Torres bleeding to death because he's a c***, and that's what happens to c***. You bleed to death. And Williams, who after shooting the preacher, MaXXXine's father, comes running with a knife shoved in her brain saying, I got him. Ma'am, you got a knife in your head. Go down, lay down, ma'am. Roll on the floor. Cinema. And then MaXXXine has her father there. He's been shot. He's on the floor. There's a helicopter, reporter lights, police lights, whatever, just hovering over her. She has a shotgun in her hand, and her father is taunting her, but I don't care about this diva anymore. This Divalicious' time is over. It's time to go back to MaXXXine, the young protege, and she has a flash forward of the future, 1 year in the future, and the Night Stalker has been caught. Again, who cares about this character? Why is he here? And then an interview with Maxine Minx, the star of Puritan 2, who 1 year ago stopped a serial killer, her father, and she's being hailed as this superhero. She has a career, she's an actress, she's made it! She is
Maxine fucking Minx.
And we go back to present time, and she tells her father, Daddy, you didn't fail me. You gave me just what I needed.
Divine intervention.
And she shoots him. 1 month later, MaXXXine is on set of Puritan 2. Her head cast is ready for action. Elizabeth is there by her side and tells her, this is just the beginning. Where do you go next? And she tells her, I just never wanted to end. MaXXXine! And I had a tear in my eye. Yes, bitch. Work. And that's the ending. The ending, I love it. I love MaXXXine's arc for her. I just hate the story. Sorry, I just hate the fucking story. What I hate about it, okay, let's get into things. Why her father? I get it that it's like the most obvious thing to go for the low-hanging fruit of like her father, the pastor, the preacher who's been after her since X, according to that televised broadcast of. First of all, that could have just been used to say who her father is. Like, she comes from church. Great. Now we know that she comes from a very oppressive environment, kind of like Pearl and her mom, the German woman in the 1918s, right? So in my mind, and if they really wanted to use this Night Stalker character, they could have gone sort of like what Ryan Murphy did in 1984 and actually cast the Night Stalker and have that be a character in MaXXXine, the central character that helps MaXXXine cement herself in the world of cinema. We would have the Night Stalker attack MaXXXine and she becomes the first victim that escapes alive because she knows how to fight. Remember that scene in the alleyway where she stomped on someone's testicles? Make it like that, but with the Night Stalker, except he gets away. And then MaXXXine has to find out who he is because he's gonna come back for her. But we would also see her psychopathic tendencies further developed after she killed for the first time at the end of X. She killed Pearl. And now in MaXXXine, we would see her have flashbacks of that, but rather than feel uneasiness, she feels okay with it. She realizes, like Pearl did in Pearl, spoiler alert, that it felt nice to kill. So in MaXXXine, she would have to kill like a couple of people from the entertainment industry, you know, maybe people that slighted her or tried to sabotage her behind the scenes, a producer that was extra handsy with her, right? And ultimately she becomes successful and she can, I don't know, Dexter her way into the industry. You know, she can continue killing as long as it's like bad people that actually deserve to be dead. And who's going to be the moral judge of those decisions?
MaXXXine fucking Minx.
That would have been great because I wanted to see MaXXXine as an extension of Pearl. What would Pearl be if she was born later? You know, if she had been born in the 50s rather than the zeros, how would she have turned out? And there you go, with different opportunities, she becomes a movie star. And her father, like, why do we need this preacher? I guess for the camp foolishness of his performance in that orange foundation. Oh my God, look at that beauty. I don't know if it was a deliberate choice to have him like put that much makeup like they used to in the 80s or if there was genuine oversight. Whichever it was, I love it. Love looking at it. Just funny. And then the shootout. Oh my God. The shootout.
Disgusting!
I look, the movie's still great and I still very much enjoy it, especially because it gave us Lily Collins with a northern accent. Oh my God. And yeah, that was MaXXXine. A disappointment of sorts, but still a pretty solid entry in Ty West's filmography. That man is unstoppable. But I don't think he's ever going to top Pearl because Pearl is a star. Pearl just has it. Whatever it is that people need to have, Pearl has it. There's no denying it. There's no fighting it. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're still watching, my God, you guys, special. I am actually planning on doing Love is Blind, by the way. Love is Blind UK. If that's of interest. Hope it is. If it flops, it flops, and we can just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Again, make sure you like this video if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button and join the family of stutterers. I promise I do have a stutter. If you can't hear it, it's because I'm just so good at hiding it or editing it out. All right, see ya.